This is a good one. It's you can't really see it too well.
This little garage door up in your side pocket.
Here's the heel. Comes up. You can see the toes at the top pretty clearly. Usually I try to like pick the pine cones out and the leaves out, but that one's pretty dang clear. Me and Mike have been following this trackway. There's actually several trackways up here. You can probably see a lot of other animals too. Oh, check out this little stick pile, bro.
Yep.
Good to have a side-by-side of elk, moose, and a Sasquatch print.
Tree lane.
Oh, that's crazy. Look at this.
There's baby ones too behind you. It's like maybe the
Neat.
Squatches were out to play.
See, this is what I call a Sasquatch trail. Along the military crest of this hill, you can see that we're on a relatively flat shelf area below the crest, and it's steep. It goes over there and then it drops. We're on the northeast side of things where the densest forest is.
There's
Oh yeah, the upside down.
notched, and it's between the two. It's
Oh, it's wedged in there. It's like way easier to find prints up here because the terrain up here doesn't get overgrown with a bunch of stuff. See how you have the two different prints? It's nice to have both of them positioned by each other so you can see the stark differences of a hoofed animal versus a gigantic, very heavy padded foot. We found another pretty nice track. This one looks relatively fresh. Tail is right here, goes up. It's all evenly. You can kind of see the toes. That looks fresh, but it's also collapsed in. So maybe it's like a couple days old. So here's some tree leans here, and that one looks like it may have grown there. So then you have a bunch of stuff leaned into a bunch of trees. Oh, that one's.
See the one up in there?
That's several. Yeah, bump. I'm like walking on a structure here. So you got a break that's not touching this main tree. So there's actually a lot going on there that you can't necessarily see in the video. There's tons of trees, and they're woven and broken. And see again, the flat terrain, military crest.
Upside down lean right here, a nice one.
Where? Oh yeah, upside down.
I had a good track right here, but Alfie and Callie both stepped in it, which is fine. But right here, see that? Upside down.
Yeah, that's cool. This is definitely going to be a nighttime hike. We're up really high, really far away from stuff. This is a valley that doesn't have trails in it. It's not a valley, it's a bowl, okay, or a basin. I'm on the south-facing side of it, which is why you got this dry scrub. You have an aspen forest right there, which to me, I've just noticed this. Maybe this is not true everywhere, but to me, it's usually a relatively flat area that the aspens grow on. They don't grow on the super steep stuff. This is where the Sasquatch are going to be, or at least where they're going to spend time. I'm not saying that they live here. To this day, I've never found something that I would call a house or a place where they live. I don't think they really live anywhere. I think they have basically a system of bedding areas and travel corridors all throughout a given range. That's just my theory, but anyway, I was talking to Mike the other day about ski resorts and why there's a lot of activity seemingly around ski resorts. You could say, well, it's just because humans are at a high elevation, and typically the ski resorts are on the northeast side, and so they're in the habitat and they're going through usually dense forest. And that's true. Obviously, where humans and Sasquatch are crossing paths, there's going to be encounters. But beyond that, these little perfect bowls that tend to be the place where we build our ski resorts, where it's generally flatter, like where they can build a lot, and a nice garage, a nice where they can put their forest, where they can put their lifts and stuff. Usually there's, they pick like perfect little bowls that have water or ponds in the bottom, and it's a perfect habitat. I mean, usually around ski resorts you have an abundance of mountain lions and very large game. It's not that Sasquatch are attracted to ski resorts. I think it's that developers are attracted to those type of terrain features. which is the perfect ideal habitat for Sasquatch. The Forest Lake is a perfect example of one of these areas. One of the most amazing encounters I've had took place up there, but it's perfect. It's just, you couldn't ask for a better habitat. It's perfect, literally perfect. And it's the type of place that you'd put a ski resort, probably, but it's very, very difficult to access. Notice this kind of hollow area in the center of that, and you got some twists and some breaks back there. Okay, we got our first rock clack and some breaks down the hill. This is a game trail that I'm on right now. It's getting hard to see it because it's dark, but it goes down and it wraps around there. So obviously you have a bunch of broken stuff under here. This is a perfect umbrella hut that they build, but I don't necessarily think it's for like a shelter thing. I actually think it's a blind. Now they've twisted these branches back, and this one right in front of us is twisted down, and they've shoved additional branches. See that one up there and that one up there. Some of these aren't even from, they're not even pine, you know, they're different trees. But you have a big hollow area behind all this, and it looks to me like what they're doing is they're chilling right there in that little dugout space, and you can see that they've piled and stuffed branches in there, and they're chilling right along this game trail, maybe to scare deer along. I'm not sure, to get them running, because it seems like a pretty inconvenient place to jump out of. I guess you could just jump right out that way. Kind of like chimpanzees hunt, they have like a catcher. They have positions, literally like a super organized effort. In many ways, it's even more organized than our own hunting tactics. They have military tactics, and these guys take it to a whole new level. And then this is a wall. Can you see that wall? Another blind along this game trail. As I follow this game trail, we're seeing a bunch of stuff twisted right there, pulled down, pulled down, pulled down. And there's a wall of vertical sticks right there. Actually, maybe it's so that it's a wall to block off the trail itself, so the deer don't diverge off the path. This is the last tiny little bit of sunshine. In fact, I turned up the ISO and I turned down the shutter speed, so you're actually seeing a much brighter image than I can see. So we've seen now that they've routed the deer. There's been literally about 15 walls and stuff, and there's converging deer trails, so they're forcing the deer and the game to converge. And now they've created a wall to the left here so they don't go sprinting down the other side of this mountain. The game are pretty much forced into one game trail, which is the one right in front of me. And then there's a wall. I don't know if you can see it. There's walls and structures on that side too. So really, for all intents and purposes, the deer really are just forced to pass straight through this meadow.
Looking through the lens like this, using this little kind of a phone mount with a flare, it's hard. I can't tell if it's because the air's so cold. We're at about maybe the low 40s. It kind of adds a little bit of non-focus, and the trees go white, almost like they're retaining warmth. So maybe there's insulating properties or something in the sap or something like that in the needles.
Well, they're all trees retain heat.
Yeah.
A lot longer.
We got eye shine a second ago in a place where my dogs were not, and it was under a big teepee structure. It was there for about 3 to 5 seconds. Really bright, really bright. In fact, it could have been a mountain lion in a tree or something, but it just turned and went somewhere and vanished because it's not there anymore.
Right as I cross this little top of this knoll, it just goes all white.
Yeah, it's the sky.
Well, it's even before sky. It's like tree. It looks like it's doing it when I like point up to a tree too.
Really?
Like maybe it's insulated heat or something. Something just hit me. It was thrown. It had trajectory. Not like hard. It wasn't big. It was like deer poop size.
I've never been
First time I had anything thrown was here. We're on a hillside. I would guesstimate about 3/4 up the hillside or so from a pretty significant bowl area, as you could already see. There's, by how hard it's breathing, that's probably Alfie, because he's the one running around the most. Yeah, that's Alfie. I'm just doing a little bit of a pan here with the FLIR. It's a little bit out of focus there, sorry.
I love this right here because it's so clearly contrived. You know, we're up here in the thick part of the alpine forest, just where there's no hunting here, and there's jogging trails and stuff, but there's no logging as far as I know. This is incredible though. I mean, the way that this thing is built is just so fascinating. And it looks like that once upon a time was cut and then snapped off and then, you know, brought here. But I mean, obviously there's all these other things. This tree is like a massive weave. It's a really good example of how something will be crammed in and then there's tree leans up against it. There's just so much going on here. It's amazing. There's definitely oh, you're down here. It's definitely a structure that's dude, it's so, yeah, you could, no doubt, you could absolutely, there's way bigger than just you. There's a flat, it's not too level, but it's more level than the ground I'm sitting on. I just don't understand how it's,
Some kind of hair.
oh, keep it or something. What color is it? It's white? Definitely keep it, man. Oh, is that the bone? Is that a bone or anything? Or? There's no bones back there? Okay. It's just a white piece of wood. It's almost like this is so ornate. There's a root ball right there. It's so ornate that I wonder if it's maybe some sort of like a crib, a little nursery or something. I mean, this thing is immaculate, dude. This is immaculate. And it includes the stuff that the trail service you know, cut from the trail, and also most of it's made out of you know, just stuff that's broken. Ugh. But one of the ways to know that you're kind of in one of these wallow areas is that they drag so many trees into this area, and I don't know why, but they make these crazy checkerboard formations with them. Now, if you can see that at all, you can appreciate the amount of sticks that have been shoved together in some sort of ball. There's below this little bundle of stuff, there's a clear little spot, so maybe that's a little blind. You got a structure here, some very interesting structures. This this like right out of you know, Colorado Bigfoot's channel. I feel like I've been teleported to Colorado. I mean, if you get into the right setting, the right habitat, where there's big types of trees, you'll start to see funky stuff. I just heard two whoops. What the crap is going on? Okay, there's another one. Oh, there's two whoops again. So that was what was that? It was, I guess, 6 or 5. This is 5. Again, they're really big on triangles. They'll purposefully make triangles, and the reason I say it with that much confidence is because it literally happens so often, you can't deny it, and you can't not notice it. They make triangles all the time, and they've made a wall here by taking a bunch of brush. Oh, actually, that's an upside down tree. It's upside down. Okay, there it is. Anyway, it's just a wall of brush there that they made by putting the top of a tree down towards the ground, putting the tree upside down. We've heard so much stuff today. Actually, the funny thing about most of the stuff that we've heard today is that it's been below us. Of course, we're pretty close to the top of the hill now. See how that's upside down? And then there's a little structure with these branches and these, it's like a wigwam-esque type thing. And then it looks like there's a bedding area maybe right there if you follow the beam. There's a bunch of root balls up in the air. This is just so incredible. This corridor stripes right across the mountain at this specific altitude, and the tree structures are just incredible. I love it. This is what the subtle stuff, you know, the small things lead to these type of things. In front of me right now is a little structure. I call these ground teepees because they're low to the ground, they're small. I don't know why, but a lot of Bigfooters are like, oh, it's the kids are just mimicking their parents. You know, I've heard that so many times. I've actually never heard any other explanation for it, and it seems like they're just more deliberate than that. It's like a letter. I kind of see it as like a, you know, the Chinese alphabet or something. It seems like the ground teepee is a specific word or letter, or it's meaningful. I don't think it's just some little baby Sasquatch just, you know, screwing around. Of course, it definitely could be. I'm no authority on this, but it's just so often that you'll see ground teepees that are just so deliberate. And sometimes they're in wallows like we are now, and sometimes they're just in these strategic little locations like your hunting site, or they're the same structures but they're not in the same locations, I guess what I'm trying to say. So that makes me think that they're something that probably the adults are doing, just one of the 75 to 80 different tree structures that they do on a regular basis. What do you see? What do you see, guys? What do you see? See, Alfie went up there when we were hiking up here. He went up there and he just sat down and stared at me for like 5 minutes. He does that when he wants me to walk to him, when he wants me to go to him. I'll go up there really quick, just to appease my curiosity. Okay, there's some movement up there. Both of my dogs are ahead of me here, and there's some movement to my right. Could be anything. Most likely a deer. Could be a moose though. You know, I was thinking, it's interesting how I am really scared sometimes to be in the dark forest, the dark woods at night. But at the same time, the bizarre thing is that when I'm with somebody, there's no fear at all. Just like that, just the companionship of another person just eliminates. I mean, it's completely gone, and it's just, why is it that this fear when we're alone is so palpable? It's just this liquid fear. But having the companionship of another person is, yeah, there's that same movement up there. I'm in a funny place right now. It's really weird. Lots of just a ton of big trees, like humongous trees. Yeah, when I'm with one other person or two or three, I mean, I sit here in the woods in complete silence, or even hike in the dark. And there's just not even the slightest lack of like comfort. I mean, just no fear at all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Nice. Got a nice blind here. And lots of little, all the branches are being broken off of the tree. I'll tell you what though, my dog, being with my dogs also takes the fear off, but there's this one time when I was 16 or 17 years old, and I was the only one up at the scout camp. I worked as a merit badge counselor for wilderness survival and wilderness first aid and all that jazz, pioneering, orienteering. I was the only one in the entire camp, and the camp was really secluded. It's actually Camp Aspen Ridge in Idaho. And I was walking back from the main lodge to the staff camp, and I was just incredibly horrified. I was just basically crippled with fear. I was so scared, and so I just started singing church hymns as loud as I could. For some reason, I just felt like I absolutely needed to hear noise or be as loud as possible. They're just really, really thick fear. But I could walk that same trail with a friend, no fear at all. Anyway, I don't know why that's interesting to me, but it is. It's like almost like we have something in us knows that at a very basic, very primal level, it knows that there is some animal, some creature, some threat that is opportunistic and that almost seeks out those that are alone. Well, mountain lions do that for sure. Anyway, and I'm not saying Sasquatch is a monster. I don't believe it is. I think it's obviously capable of doing great damage and violence, and I think that it has, just like the Indians have said. But I also think that it's very, very peaceful if you actually look at, if you have a holistic view of all their behavior and how all the opportunities that they could be violent. Some opportunities where they probably even should be violent to protect themselves, but they're not. All in all, you just have to say it's a peaceful animal. Anyway, but it's like something in us is aware that there's something more than bears and mountain lions. I've encountered mountain lions, at least really, really fresh tracks. Actually, tracks that circled around and were following me, it seemed like. And I haven't encountered any bears yet, but I've seen tracks of bear. I've seen bear tracks, I think. I don't know. Maybe I haven't. Maybe those were just gigantic mountain lion tracks. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's something else. I don't know. There's this feeling, this intuition. Anyway, I better go. Over and out.